What if I told you the most heartbreaking character in One Piece isn't Luffy, Ace, or even Nami, but someone who willingly erased his own soul to protect a child that wasn't even his? A man whose silent sacrifices make him the unsung hero of the series? This is the story of a character so misunderstood, his true legacy is only now coming to light, and it changes everything we thought we knew about justice, freedom, and humanity in the One Piece world. In today's video, we're diving deep into the silent storm that is Bartholomew Kuma, a character whose presence has always lingered in the background of world-shaking events, but whose true story remained locked away until now. From his shocking ties to God Valley to the soul-crushing decisions he made to protect his adopted daughter, Kuma's story isn't just tragic, it's revolutionary. And by the end of this video, you might just agree that Kuma isn't just one of Oda's best-written characters, he may be the most important piece of the puzzle. Bartholomew Kuma is the best-written character in One Piece. While it may appear to be a ridiculous allegation, there is plenty of evidence to support the assertion that Bartholomew Kuma is better written than the Straw Hats. Before delving into Kuma's biography, it's important to remember where he first appears in the plot. In the Thriller Bark arc, Kuma comes across as a dangerous character. His nickname, the Tyrant, further enhanced his terror. Kuma split the Straw Hat Pirates and dispersed them over the Sabaody archipelago. At that point, Kuma, along with Kizaru, felt like the main villains in One Piece. He was also there in Marineford, where he defeated Oars Jr. Following the time skip, Kuma was transformed into a full-fledged slave for the Celestial Dragons. He appeared to have lost all sentience, which was why he obeyed the Celestial Dragons' directives. Secrets are revealed in Egghead arc. The fans' opinion of Kuma shifted during the Egghead storyline, which contained a flashback of his entire adventure. One of Kuma's most mysterious aspects was his race. Therefore, Oda made it a point to address this specific question. Kuma was discovered to be a Buccaneer, a race that had been nearly exterminated by the world government for a previous transgression. Kuma was discovered to be a Buccaneer, a race that had been nearly exterminated by the world government for a previous transgression. A young Kuma struggled to keep his sanity after his parents died. Kuma had no hope of escaping until he was chosen as the sacrificial lamb for the Celestial Dragons hunting competition in God Valley. Kuma met Ginny and Ivankov on the island, and they managed to leave. It is worth noting that escape would not have been feasible if the Rock's pirates hadn't landed on the island. Kuma starts a new life with Ginny. Kuma's ate the Nikyu no Mi in God Valley. Kuma raised Bonney alone. After leaving God Valley, Kuma traveled to the Sorbet Kingdom, where he assisted the elderly and weak by feeding them his Nikyu no Mi, which he had eaten in God Valley. He would use its ability to draw out the physical pain from within their bodies. After they went, Kuma would place his hands inside the agony bubble and absorb all of their anguish. This scene demonstrates Kuma's benevolence and how he didn't let the trauma affect him. In contrast, Doflamingo's experiences outside of Marioa had a negative impact on him. He became a vicious maniac who murdered his father and brother. Prior to being imprisoned by Bakori, Kuma was doing well. Finally, he was rescued by the Revolutionary Army. Following the incident, Kuma joined the organization alongside Ginny. Everything was pointing to a happy conclusion for Kuma, but fate had different intentions. Ginny was kidnapped by a celestial dragon and brought to Marijoa. Unfortunately, Kuma couldn't do anything about it. Ginny contacted Kuma years later, but she was dying. She spoke for a bit before succumbing to her sickness. However, she did leave behind a young Bonney. Bonney was difficult to raise on his own. Kuma took it upon himself to care for the child. He raised her as well as he could. Unfortunately, there was one more issue that he needed to resolve. Kuma discovered Bonney had an incurable condition shortly after taking her in. Naturally, he wanted to save her at whatever cost, so he searched far and wide for a remedy, but to no effect. Fortunately, Dragon urged him to seek out Vegapunk, so Kuma paid the scientist a visit. Vegapunk assured Kuma that he would treat Bonney in exchange for doing experiments on the Buccaneer. Kuma agreed, but tragedy struck again when Saturn stepped in. He proposed various requirements, one of which was Kuma giving up his sentience. Despite the ludicrous nature of the offer, Kuma accepted because his primary goal was to save Bonney. Kuma's biography demonstrates that not everyone who goes through pain becomes a horrible person. He never gave up hope and continued to fight till the end. It's a lesson for the characters and also the fans. Summary and highlights. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda features well-written characters such as Kuma. Kuma's story demonstrates his kindness despite his traumatic past. Kuma's story exemplifies tenacity and hope in the face of overwhelming pain. Kuma's life is a haunting reminder that true strength doesn't always roar sometimes. It's quiet, painful, and invisible to the world. His legacy reshapes how we see the world government, the Revolutionary Army, and even the Straw Hats themselves. If this video gave you a new perspective on Kuma, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about his place in One Piece history. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the heart of the Grand Line. Until next time, stay free and keep chasing the One Piece. Thank you very much for visiting the Mugiwara Review YouTube channel, buddy. We hope you enjoy our review analysis. Don't forget to subscribe and continue joining us on our joyful journey in the world of anime. If you have any wishes, question, or suggestions for our next videos, feel free to express your thoughts on the comments below. Thank you very much for your support, and until we meet again, see you next time, buddy. What is One Piece anime? One Piece is a manga and anime story about a young boy named Monkey D. Luffy who wants to be the king of the pirates in the world. As a child, he eats a devil fruit, a strange plant that makes him able to stretch like rubber. Before the show starts, Luffy goes out into the world for the first time and starts to gather a group of pirates. The main group grows over time, but it starts with Luffy, Nami the Navigator, and a swordsman named Roronoa Zoro. At some point, Luffy and his friends are known as the Straw Hat Pirates, and they go on many exciting adventures across the ocean. One Piece is a lot of fun because it's silly. Luffy goes from island to island around the world in the series. Each island has its own setting and theme. It's a pretty fantastical world full of animals that look like people, live skeletons, and other delightfully strange things. Within moments, the group is in a winter scene, and the next, they are on a tropical island full of giants. The show is full of silly and bright details. For example, Zoro holds a sword in his mouth, a scary military boss wears a cute bulldog hat, and people don't use phones to talk to each other instead. They use special transponder snails that can send and receive messages. Luffy is a carefree person who just wants to eat a tasty meal and laugh at bad jokes. Even though there are some funny parts in the series, a lot of One Piece is about freedom. During his travels, Luffy often takes up guns to help his friends and encourages others to do the same against pirates and government-backed military occupations. The characters in Luffy and his crew get stronger with each fight, which is typical for shonen manga. A lot of the story is about how Luffy beats a problem that seemed impossible to solve and finds some kind of secret power. After each fight, Luffy and his team get stronger and move closer to his main goal, which is to find the One Piece. Why is it called One Piece? The first part of both the manga and the anime shows that Pirate King Ghoul D. Roger is telling the truth about the mythical wealth called the One Piece. One Piece is the name of the show, because Luffy wants to find the One Piece and become the next Pirate King. One of Luffy's main goals in the show is mentioned in the show's title. What is the One Piece? The answer to this question is still one of the biggest secrets in the series. It's been more than 1,000 episodes, and we still don't know what One Piece is. We know that the One Piece is the name of the treasure that Ghoul D. Roger collected on his travels because of details in the manga. We still don't know a lot about the treasure, though. There are a lot of ideas from fans about what the One Piece is, but we still don't know what it is or even if it's real. The One Piece could just be the friends Luffy makes along the way.